بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مغمقون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فأززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب عليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون فجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أتخذوا من دونه آلهة إن يردن الرحمن بضر لا تغن عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينزغون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومك من بعدك من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كما أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها هبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملته أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في الصور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن قالت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محسنون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أحد إليكم يا بني آدم أن لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون. اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون. ولو نشاء لتمسنا على أعينكم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون. ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون. ومن نؤمره ننكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون. وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين. أفلم يروا أنا خلقنا لكم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون. وذللناها لكم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون. ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون. واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون. لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند مهزرون. فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون. أفلم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين. وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم. قل يحيي الذي أنشاها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم. الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون. أفليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم. إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون. آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات.
खुशनुदी इमाम ज़माना बुलंदतर सलावत।
मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सलावत। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद। सबको खुशहाली मुबारक। मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सलावत। सल्ले अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद। या मूसा काज़िम हमें आफत से छुड़ाओ, बहरे हसन हुसैन मुसीबत से बचाओ। या मूसा موسیٰ کاظم ہمیں آفت سے چھڑاؤ، بہر حسن حسین مصیبت سے بچاؤ۔ آیا ہوں در پہ آپ کے اور کرتا ہوں سوال، تم ہی میری حاجت روا ہو فاطمہ کے لال۔ سامان غیب کر دو میرے واسطے فی الحال، ٹل جائے جسے سارا میرا رنج اور ملال۔ یا موسیٰ کاظم ہمیں آفت سے چھڑاؤ، بہر حسن حسین مصیبت سے بچاؤ۔ یا موسیٰ کاظم ہمیں آفت سے چھڑاؤ، بہر حسن حسین مصیبت سے بچاؤ۔ بیمار ہیں جو بھی شفا ان کو عطا کر، بے جرم اسیروں کو میرے مولا رہا کر، ظلمات کے اندھیروں میں میرے مولا ضیا کر، مومن کی مقدر میں ولا اور عزا کر۔ یا موسیٰ کاظم ہمیں آفت سے چھڑاؤ، بہر حسن حسین مصیبت سے بچاؤ۔ یا موسیٰ کاظم ہمیں آفت سے چھڑاؤ، بہر حسن حسین مصیبت سے بچاؤ۔ خالق نے تمہیں خلق کا مختار بنایا، بھٹکے ہوں کو آپ نے ہی راستہ دکھایا۔ میں بھی ہوں پریشان، کرو لطف کا سایہ، اور کر دے عطا آپ سے جو مانگنے آیا۔ یا موسیٰ کاظم ہمیں آفت سے چھڑاؤ، بہر حسن حسین مصیبت سے بچاؤ۔ یا موسیٰ کاظم ہمیں آفت سے چھڑاؤ، بہر حسن حسین مصیبت سے بچاؤ۔ کیا آج نا امید مجھے پھیریں گے در سے، ایسا کبھی ہوا ہی نہیں آپ کے گھر سے۔ خالی پھرا نہیں ہے کوئی آپ کے در سے، میں ہو کے غلام آپ کا خالی پھروں کیسے۔ یا موسیٰ کاظم ہمیں آفت سے چھڑاؤ، بہر حسن حسین مصیبت سے بچاؤ۔ یا موسیٰ کاظم ہمیں آفت سے چھڑاؤ، بہر حسن حسین مصیبت سے بچاؤ۔ محمد وآل محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم۔
نعرہ تکبیر، نعرہ رسالت، نعرہ حیدری۔
نعرہ تکبیر، نعرہ رسالت، نعرہ حیدری حیدری محمد والے محمد بلند سے بلند تر سے بلند تر صلوات پڑھ دیجیے گا. ایک مولا علی کی شان میں چند فضائل پیش کرنے جا رہا ہوں. مل گئی مجھ کو خدائی یا علی کہنے کے بعد مل گئی مجھ کو خدائی یا علی کہنے کے بعد مل گئی مجھ کو خدائی یا علی کہنے کے بعد مل گئی مجھ کو خدائی یا علی کہنے کے بعد ہاں یہی ہوتا ہے بھائی یا علی کہنے کے بعد حیدری ہاں یہی ہوتا ہے بھائی یا علی کہنے کے بعد خور جام کوثر لے لیا فردوس میں گھر لے لیا جام کوثر لے لیا فردوس میں گھر لے لیا ہر اس قدر دولت کمائی یا علی کہنے کے بعد حیدری ہاں یہی ہوتا ہے بھائی یا علی کہنے کے بعد میں نے پوچھا کامیابی کی سند ملتی ہے کہاں میں نے پوچھا کامیابی کی سند ملتی ہے کہاں عرش سے یا علی کہنے کے بعد نعرہ حیدری ہاں یہی ہوتا ہے بھائی یا علی کہنے کے بعد سلامات پڑھ دیجیے گا. امام حسین کی شان میں چند فضائل پیش کر رہا ہوں. خوشی سے سر تو کٹائے کوئی تو میں جانوں خوشی سے سر تو کٹائے کوئی تو میں جانوں ہر جو اپنے گھر کو لٹائے کوئی تو میں جانوں اور بشر جہاں میں خدا بھی بنے نبی بھی بنے، بشر جہاں میں خدا بھی بنے نبی بھی بنے، ارے حسین بن کے دکھائے کوئی تو میں جانوں حیدری، نہ پوچھئے کہ کیا حسین ہے، نہ پوچھئے کہ کیا حسین ہے، کیا حسین ہے، نہ پوچھئے کہ کیا حسین ہے، خدا کے دی کا نا خدا، خدا کے دی کا نا خدا، ہر ابتدا کی ابتدا، کرم کی انتہا حسین ہے حیدری، کیا حسین ہے، نہ پوچھئے کہ کیا حسین ہے، کرے جو کوئی ہم شریک، کسی کی کیا مجال ہے، ہر جہاں میں ہر لحاظ سے حسین بے مثال ہے، یہ ہو چکا ہے فیصلہ، یہ ہو چکا ہے فیصلہ، نہ کوئی دوسرا خدا، نہ کوئی دوسرا حسین ہے، کیا حسین ہے، نہ پوچھئے کہ کیا حسین ہے، اور ہے جس کی فکر کربلا، حسین وہ دماغ ہے، یہ پنجتن کی انجمن کا پانچواں چراغ ہے، علی کا دوسرا پسر، حسن کا پہلا ہم سفر، علی کا دوسرا پسر، امام تیسرا حسین ہے حیدری، کیا حسین ہے، نہ پوچھئے کہ کیا حسین ہے، اور کرو گے گر مخالفت غم حسین کی یہاں، وہ حشر ہوگا حشر تک کہ الحفیظ الامان، کہیں بھی چھپنے جاؤ گے، کہیں بھی چھپنے جاؤ گے، کہیں بھی چھپنے جاؤ گے، کہیں بھی بچ نہ پاؤ گے، کہ ہر جگہ میرا حسین ہے، کیا حسین ہے، نہ پوچھئے کہ کیا حسین ہے، نعرہ حیدری، نعرہ صلوات۔ ایک آخری کلام پیش کر رہا ہوں، खूबसूरत से नात है, आप लोग को पसंद आएगी। एक दफ़ा बुलंदतर से बुलंदतर सलावात पढ़ दीजिएगा। मैं तो पंजितन का गुलाम हूँ, मैं तो पंजितन का गुलाम हूँ, मैं गुलाम इब्ने गुलाम हूँ, मैं तो पंजितन का गुलाम हूँ, मैं तो पंजितन का गुलाम हूँ, मैं गुलाम इब्ने गुलाम हूँ, मैं तो पंजितन का गुलाम हूँ। मुहम्मद सलावत
सल्ले अला मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद। माशाअल्लाह।
Nare salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Momini, please recite Surah Fatiha for Marhum Kushro Ghulam Ali Fazal, Marhuma Fatma Bai, Shamim Bai, Zainab Bai, Shirin Bai, Ali Bai Bimji, Marhum Ramzan Ali, Muhammad Ali Walji, Marhum Fazal Virani, Marhuma Sakina Mahmud Ahmad, Marhum Roshan Lalji Mamdani, Marhum Mamataki Pir Bai, Marhuma Razia Bai Pir Bai, Marhuma Rubab Bai Natani, Marhuma Nargis Bai Muhammad Khalfan, Marhuma Amina Bai Murad Karmali, Marhum Abbas Murad Karmali, Marhum Askar Bai Natani, Marhum Hassan Ali Somani, Marhum Syed Asad Raza, Marhuma Sugra Bai Somani, Marhuma Amina Bai Manji, Marhuma Khatun Bai Hamza, Marhum Muhammad Ali Manji, Marhum Shabir Hamza, Marhum Hamza Ali, Marhum Muhammad Pardhan, Marhum Ghulam Bai Jagani, Marhum Akbar Ali Bachu Sumar, Marhuma Shirin Bai Sumar, Marhuma Saida Bai Datu, Marhum Habib Walji, Marhum Ghulam Walji, Marhumins of Juma Laka family, Marhuma Tasneem Raza, Marhumins of Muhammad Ali Walji family, Marhumins of Fazal family, Marhumins of Haji Muhammad Ismail family, Marhumins of Amir Ali Rajpa family, Marhumins of Ali Bai Bimji family, Marhumins of Ali Hussein Hamani family, Marhumins of Ramzan Ali Tarbai family, Marhum Akbar Jamal, Marhumins of Rajbali Tarbai family, Marhumins of Hamir family, Marhuma Fatma Bai Hashim, Marhuma Fatma Bai Jamal, Marhumins of Rajwani family, Marhumins of Muhammad Hussein Devjian families, Marhumins of Muhammad Hussein Ali Dungrasi families, Marhumins of the Padani families, Marhumins of the Dhanji families, Marhumins of the Ramji families, and all other Marhumins. Surat al-Fatiha. Our next program for Bustan-e-Zahra is the 3-day Ashra. That's on Wednesday, next Wednesday, 24th of January, with the Wiladat of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. 8 p.m. start, inshallah. And inshallah, honest and goodly niyaz will be served in honor. Now, for this 3-day Ashra, I have a specialist reciter from Canada, Windsor, Ontario. Lebanese reciter Imam Nasruddin will come to recite for these majlises from Ontario, Canada. Then the next day, Thursday, 25th Jan, Shahadat Imam Ali Naki alayhi salam. Masalli ala Muhammadin wa alim. Again, Imam Nasruddin will recite this. And lastly, on Friday, 26th Jan, Shahadati wa Bibi Zainab, Bibi Kulthum Salamun alayha. Masalli ala Muhammadin wa alim. Again, Imam Nasruddin will recite, and inshallah, trustworthy niyaz will be served in honor of the two holy souls. That's it. So 3-day Ashra, I'll send you those leaflets and put it on social media for you. He's coming for the first time. He's as I say it, he's the toast of Canada. So please, Mominin, take that into account. Okay, Mominin, felicitations and goodliness to all of you on this most auspicious occasion. May all your du'as be answered, and may the children remain happy and running around here freely. May all you, in this sadness of this world, may some of our desires should be fulfilled, inshallah, and try to be happy and keep your wives happy. I keep on going on about it. In lockdown, without the wives, we would have suffered unbearably. So they cooked for us, they clothed us, they fed us, and still they kept us in the homes. Yeah. So for them, please get something nice for them, Mr. Wiladat here. Get something nice for them tomorrow. Even a small thing. Nothing is too small and nothing is too big, apart from handbag and shoes. So I mean, Sheikh Hilli is here. This is the last time he's reciting for us for a little while. He's going on different climbs, different places. But inshallah, he will remain in Harrow. His home is in Harrow. His home is at Bustan-e-Zahra, and I pay tribute to him for being here and withstanding the onslaught of my unnecessary felicitations that I do to him. But this time I won't. So please welcome him with huge Nare Salwat. Nare Salwat.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف خلقه وخاتم أنبيائه وسيد رسله سيدنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد، وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المطهرين المكرمين. قال الله العظيم في كتابه الكريم وهو أحسن القائلين وأصدق الصادقين: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رحمة الله وبركاته عليكم أهل البيت. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. For the purification of the souls, the enlightening of the hearts, for the acceptance of the deeds, and for the hastening of the reappearance of the awaited Savior, Ajalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. Enlighten your souls and the atmosphere with the recitation of salawat upon Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Respected elders, sisters and brothers, Salamun Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi Ta'ala wa Barakatuh. It is a great honor to be able to gather in celebration of the birth anniversary of the 7th Holy Imam, Babul Hawa'ij, Musa ibn Ja'far, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayh. And unconventionally, I'd like to start by asking a question and require an answer, because the answer would really formulate what will be discussed next. Who was the mother of Imam al-Kazim alayhi salam? This is a question that I'd need an answer, and the progression will only depend if you answer. What is the name of the mother of Imam al-Kazim alayhi salam? MashaAllah. Somebody at the back, maybe a jinn, I can't see. MashaAllah. Who said? Fantastic. Salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. That saves the blushes of many of us here that may have not known the name of this glorious individual. And it is this particular individual that I'd like to shed light on this evening, because one of the important elements in the following in the footsteps of these glorious human beings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen for us to look up to them and to take them as role models is mothers. Mothers play a pivotal role in the lives of many human beings. But when you look at an excellent human being who's achieved so much and their status is high in the eyes of Allah, there isn't a shadow of a doubt that their mother played a great role in their upbringing. When I look at, for example, the warrior on the 10th of Muharram, the individual who stood right next to Sayyid al-Shuhada, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, on the plains of Karbala. Many of us are in awe of Qamaru Bani Hashim, Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam. I immediately begin to think of the bravery and the courage of Amir al-Mu'mineen, no doubt. But there is no doubt that if it wasn't for al-Baneen, Abbas wouldn't be who he is today. al-Baneen is a remarkable human being, that her legacy today is something that we honor, isn't it? Similarly, when you look at the Imams of the Ahl al-Bayt, one thing that must be understood is that their excellence, without a shadow of a doubt, is related to their fathers, but also connected to their mothers. And for us to be able to get close to these human beings, why? So that we can learn from them, we need to also honor their mothers. Because if I know Hamida al-Musaffat, her name is, the mother of Imam al-Kazim alayhi salam, without a doubt this places happiness in the heart of the Imams, especially the Imam himself, because he loved his mother. Every Imam, every individual today, all of us, we have a special connection with our mothers. And imagine if today we discuss or we have an understanding of these people, their status, their lives, their biographies, this will be beneficial both in this world and as well as the hereafter. Now, what is special about this lady Hamida? If today you walk away from this gathering with just a little bit of information about her, you have gained much, because this Hamida is special in that she is known as the mother or the first of the slaves. Meaning what? She was, of course, the wife of Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad al-Sadiq salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. And her title was Ima. Why? She was the first of 5 ladies who were slaves and servants who were married by the Imams and gave them children who were Imams. So Imam al-Kazim alayhi salam's mother, a slave. Imam al-Rida, a slave. Imam al-Jawad al-Taqiyya, his mother, slave. Imam al-Hadi, Imam al-Askari alayhi salam. As well as, of course, there is a discussion regarding what? Regarding the Holy 12th Imam. In my humble research, his mother was also a slave, but not a Roman princess. But that's something that we can discuss another day. But at the very least, we find that the beginning of this movement by the Imams to marry people outside their culture, who were not necessarily the same color, who did not necessarily speak the same language, started with Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam and the mother Imam al-Kazim alayhi salam. And this is why this Hamida occupies this interesting status. Why did the Ahl al-Bayt do this? Why are the last 5 or at least 5 or 6 Imams, their mothers were slave ladies? Because they're the manifestation of the Quranic principle, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The most worthy in the eyes of Allah amongst you is the most God conscious. Whether you are white, black, from a different background, doesn't matter. The Imams would come out and say that I will choose a lady who's not just my wife, who would have a womb that would carry a pure individual who is chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which means what? I will demonstrate to you evidence that these mothers of the Imams were not chosen by the Imams. They were chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had a plan. Today racism is strife. Today bigotry is found. Even in this particular day and age where perhaps we think that we have developed, we constantly see racial prejudice, unfortunately, in different aspects being demonstrated. Whereas back in the time, you'll find that despite there being more strife at that time, the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam sought to eradicate it, sought to fight against it and say, you know what, we are grandsons of the Holy Prophet, we have been chosen by Allah, we're the best of people, but we don't necessarily want to marry people from within our backgrounds. It doesn't mean it's wrong to marry people from the same background. Most people opt for this, but it's also an indication that it's okay to marry outside the background. I understand this is sensitive. There are people today who are very apprehensive when it comes to intracultural marriages. It's a little bit more challenging because many times with weddings and the way people live their lives, it is not easy to reconcile between these differences. But notice how the Imams alayhim salam wanted to establish examples and be role models for you and I to understand that, you know what, the Ahlul Bayt did it, even the Prophet of Islam did it, in the recognition that he married people who are not Arab. He married, for example, a person from Rome, so to speak. Yes, and therefore Maria Qibtiyya, or she was a Copt rather. And therefore what we find is therefore this particular individual deserves to be understood. Now, how was she married to Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam? Because the narrations tell us that she originally is either from Andalusia, which is southern Spain. So some scholars have said Imam al-Sadiq, Imam al-Kazim's mother was Spanish. Yes? But more likely, her background is from a region of North Africa by the name of Berber region. So incorporated, for example, Egypt, incorporated Algeria, Libya, those kind of regions, Sudan. And so she was from that particular region. And that area became Muslim in the year 90 after Hijrah, after the expansion of the religion of Islam, and they embraced the religion. Now, it's very interesting. The story is found in Al-Kafi and in books such as Dala'il al-Imama by At-Tabari and others that said that people started to talk and say, why is Imam al-Sadiq not married? Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam was not married. And they started to gossip. You know, gossip did not need WhatsApp. It existed way before, yes? And so they came to Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam and said to him, why is your son not married yet? And he would say that I have not yet received the clearance for him to get married. So it's all part of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan. After a while, he says, Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam says to an individual who was known to be able to purchase some slaves. So he said, there is a lady that's come from Berber. She's a slave lady. Here's a bag of money. I want you to go and purchase her. This is her description. He's come to Medina, so you must purchase this lady. So this man, who is a companion of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he goes to this individual. He says to him, you have bought some slaves from that region of North Africa, Berber. I want to buy one of them. He said, they're all sold except two and they're sick. This man said, fine, show me them. So the man brings these two ladies. The individual immediately recognizes one of them as what? As Hamida. He says, how much is she? So the man selling said, she's 70 dinars. The man said, I have a bag of money. I don't know how much it contains, but that's all I can offer you. You want to take it? He said, okay. So he took the bag, opened it and counted the coins. It was exactly 70 dinars. Exactly. That man immediately began what? Began to shake and said to this individual, he said, do you know what happened last night? He said, what happened? He said, in my dream I saw Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said that when I saw the Prophet, he told me, tomorrow you will sell one of the slaves that you have to a righteous individual who is, she will indeed be good for him. So he said, now I believe. So now when she was taken, she was brought to Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam looked at her and said to her, what is your name? She said, Hamida. He said to her this famous line. Now when an imam praises an individual, it's not based on emotion, it's not based on feelings, it's based on what? It's based on the truth. So he says to her, Hamidatun fid dunya, mahmudatun fil akhirah. He says, your name is Hamida in this world, but in akhirah, you are what? You are treasured. You are special in akhirah. So he said to her, have you had a relationship with other men? Are you still virgin? She said, every time a human being, a man wants to get close to me, something happens to them. They are not able. So Imam alayhi salam immediately recognized why that was. He would then present her to Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam, who of course freed her, then gave her the choice whether she wants to marry him or not. This was the practice of the Imams, by the way. From Imam as-Sadiq onwards to Imam al-Askari alayhi salam, they would, when they have these slaves who would later become the mothers of the Imams, they would free them first, then they would offer them whether they wanted to marry or not. And that's what she immediately chose to do. Now, Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam then mentions a number of things about her. This is important because when we recognize the status of an individual, we know why she had some qualities that you and I must be aware of. Imam alayhi salam says, Hamida Sayyidatul Ima. She is the lady who is in charge, who is the mother of all the servants and the slaves, because she was the beginning and then later on this followed. ما زالت الأملاك تحرسها, that the malaika will always be protecting her حتى أديت إلى كرامة الله عز وجل, until she is encapsulated by a special grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then he would say Hamidatun Musaffat. Hamida is specially purified. Min al-adnas, from impurities. Kasabikat al-dhahab, just like how gold is refined and purified, Hamida has been purified to this particular extent. So this is the praise that the Imam alayhi salam presents toward this honorable individual. Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam now speaks about his wife. He says, مَا زَالَتِ الْأَمْلَاكُ تَحْرِسُهَا, that the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has presented malaika that they will protect her. This is karamatan min Allah li wal hujjat min ba'di, because of a blessing of Allah for me and the representative of Allah after me. Now, when we come to the lives of these holy individuals, the mothers of the Imams, unfortunately history has not been fair, in the sense that has not presented us with much information regarding their lives. But when it comes to Hamida, there are an interesting number of pointers that I'd like to draw your attention regarding her relationship with Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam. Please understand this, because many a times this kind of relationship, the marital relationship, is under scrutiny. Many a times people out there are looking at this relationship with a negative lens, whereas when you look at the relationship between Imam as-Sadiq and Hamida, peace be upon them, it's with a relationship based on lots of love, respect, mutual cooperation, but also compassion. There was a lot of compassion shown between them. I give you one example. Imam alayhi salam himself said, one day, وَلَقَدْ آذَانِي, this is where in Al-Kafi, I will always mention references so that you know where these narrations are from. They are not from Mr. Google or some majlis that somebody mentions in emotion. No, we present you evidence so that you know where the references are. In Al-Kafi, this particular lady was with Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam. Imam says, one day I was suffering with a stomach problem. وَلَقَدْ آذَانِي أَكْلَ الْخَلِّ وَالزَّيْتِ, I was eating vinegar and olive oil. That was my main food, perhaps with a little bit of bread. This was creating a problem for me. He says, حَتَّى أَنَّ حَمِيدَ, but the moment Hamida heard of this, without even telling me, the narration doesn't say that she sought permission. Without telling him, أَمَرَتْ بِدِجَاجَ فَشُوِيَتْ, she asked for a chicken to be grilled. Now what did she put in that chicken? I don't know. The narration doesn't tell us. فَرَجَعَتْ إِلَيَّ نَفْسِي, he says, and the moment I had some of that chicken, I was cured. I was fine. This shows that this Hamida, salamullahi alayha, was in tune. That many a times she was very much connected. This idea of looking out for each other is so critical in a marital relationship. It is so important to go above and beyond. I know some people might say, well, you know what, sometimes the relationship isn't great, but then when we try our best to put the other before ourselves, sometimes this brings out magnificent results. I remember reading that the world record for the longest marriage, that now the couple have died a few years ago in Bradford in the UK, the world record. They were married for 84 years. And there were a couple from India, for Punjab. One was 107 and the other was 100 years of age. And they were asked, how could you survive for 84 years together? How did you keep your marriage so strong? So they asked the wife. Remember, her name was, I think, Qatari. Yes. Don't know why I've memorized her name. So they asked her, why do you think you've lasted so long as far as your marriage? She said, because of one thing. She said, what is it? Secrets to happiness of marriage? She said, chapati. Now you might be wondering, what's chapati got to do with marriage? There are many people now ready to make these chapatis in the hope that the marriage thrives. They asked her, why? Why are you so, focused on chapati? She said, one of my hobbies, one of the things I loved was to make chapatis. But I would make one for my husband and one for myself. But I knew he loved my chapatis. But the moment when I made it, I would half mine and give half of mine to him too. That for me was a secret for happiness in marriage, subhanAllah. You might be thinking, come on. We buy our wives Mercedes and Ferraris and they're not happy. But that's not the point here. The point is looking out for the other and understanding what makes them comfortable and happy, placing that little bit of extra effort in the relationship. Now, this great individual, this Hamida, Salamullahi alayhi, the mother of Imam al-Kazim alayhi salam, was also exceptional as a scholar. So, she's a narrator of hadith. She was somebody who would teach Islam. She would teach the teachings of the Ahl al-Bayt alayhi salam to people. For example, in Al-Kafi, Abdurrahman ibn Hajjaj says, one day I came to Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam and asked him, I said to him, we have a small child and we want to bring this child to Mecca. So they were in Medina. We want to bring this child to Mecca, but we don't know what to do. Should they wear ihram? What's the ruling? Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says, go to my wife, Hamida. Subhanallah. The Imams know who to choose, yes? So they would go to Hamida and say to her, okay, what do? We've got this baby. And Hamida would say to them, so make sure you take all the clothes off from the baby, wash the baby, and put a cloth like ihram, the baby boy, yes, and do ihram on his behalf, and do all the a'mal on his behalf. And then at the end, when it comes to taqsir or halaq, take part of his hair. And so you find that she, as well as Farwa, who is the mother of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, the wife of Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, used to go in Medina, and any questions people had, you'd think this is automatic, that any, for example, wife of a ma'soom should be like this. Not necessarily, by the way. We have ma'soomeen who their wives were not righteous. You know that, right? We have Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam, we have Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. Not necessarily these Imams yes, but the mother of every ma'soom is 100% righteous. Why? Because then in the narration, what do we find in the ziyarah? أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة. I bear witness you are a light that will pass between the legitimate loins and the pure wombs. These are pure wombs. Now, a momentous occasion in the life of Hamida was giving birth to Imam Musa ibn Ja'far Bab al-Hawa'id salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. This is also found in the book Dala'il al-A'imma by At-Tabari, who says from Abi Basir. And remember, Abu Basir was somebody who was blind. He says that I was with Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam in the year that his son Musa was born, and we were in an area known as Abwa. Now, let's go back because see if people are awake. Anybody tell me who is buried in Abwa in Medina? Very important lady in Islam. Abwa is about 50 kilometers from Medina city center. 50. Anyone know who's buried there? Excellent, mashallah. Amina, the mother of the Holy Prophet of Islam, is buried in Abwa. Now, it seems that Imam alayhi salam was there. And Abu Basir says, I came to him. Imam we were some group of companions of the Imam. He put us some food there. And the moment he put us some food, the person who is in the house with Hamida called and said, Imam, you must come, because Hamida is about to give birth. So Imam alayhi salam went. He said he came back farihan masruran. He was delighted. He was joyful and smiling. So he said to him, may Allah make you always smiling. What has happened? He said, وَهَبَ اللَّهُ لِي غُلَامًا هُوَ خَيْرٌ مِّن بَرَأَ اللَّهِ. Allah has granted me a son who is amongst the best of his creation. And she, Hamida, has told me what I already know. So this is Imam telling them what Hamida said, but Imam already knows. Okay, just in case someone says, oh, but Hamida knows something Imam doesn't. Imam here just wants to clarify. He says, the Hamida told me that the moment he was born, وقع من بطنها وقع واضعا يديه على الأرض. He placed his hand onto the ground. رافعا رأسه إلى السماء. His face was towards the heavens. And يقول أشهد أن لا إله إلا هو. He began to say أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. Yes, this was something that he began to say. Imam alayhi salam said that I told her, this is a sign that was told by the Holy Prophet of Islam, and it is a sign that he is the Imam after me. So this momentous occasion was something that, of course, Hamida salamullahi alayha would indeed remember. And that's why we are told Imam alayhi salam would say to her, Ya Hamida, bakhin bakhin, halla al-malaku fi baytik. Congratulations, congratulations. The malaika are now all in your house, celebrating this auspicious wilada of Imam Musa ibn Ja'far al-Kazim salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. What is interesting in the life of this great lady is the stories that she narrates. And I've selected just one for us to indeed be inspired by, because this story is relevant to our lives. This story is again in Al-Kafi from Abu Basir, who said that when Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam was martyred, I went to whom? Hamida. And Imam al-Sadiq held her in so high esteem because he left 5 individuals as his representative. Because Abu Ja'far al-Mansur al-Duwaniqi, the Abbasid ruler, by the way, you know, in Baghdad today, there's an area called Mansur. And it's named after the Abbasid ruler who killed Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. Many people live in that area, Shias and Sunnis and others, right? But unfortunately, that's the reality. And he has a big statue. It's very close to my house in Kardamain, so I see it often. Yes? Alhamdulillah, opportunity to send la'na. But anyway, so when this particular individual heard Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, or he of course poisoned him and said, that's it, he's finished. Now he said, anyone who al-Sadiq has said is after him, kill him. Don't wait. So he sent this message to his governor in Medina, Muhammad ibn Sulaiman. So he said, Muhammad ibn Sulaiman, anyone now who says, I am after al-Sadiq, you must kill him. Muhammad ibn Sulaiman came and said, okay, who has Ja'far ibn Muhammad said the people after him? Who is it? What's their name? They said, here's his statement. He said, these 5 are the ones after me to be consulted. Number 1, Mansur. Number 2, this guy. Who? Muhammad ibn Sulaiman, the governor of Medina. Yes. Number 3, Abdullah, my son. Number 4, Musa ibn Ja'far. And number 5, who? Hamida. Yes. So of course, Mansur said, I can't kill myself. And the governor said, so then it was forgotten. And this enabled Imam Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam to be able to establish what? With the Shia, his imamat. But notice the status of Hamida, that Imam al-Sadiq names her in his wasiyah, yes, to have this significance. Now this story we end with, and that is very, very important. And that is, Abu Basir said, when I came to see her, when I came to give her condolences that her husband has just been martyred, she said to me something. I saw her crying, I saw her in a distressed state, but she said to me, I'd like you to narrate this. I'm going to tell you the story and I want you to tell everyone. What is it? She said, when I was next to him and he was breathing his last, he was unconscious. At that moment, he woke up and said, I want all my family members, distant and long and close. Yes, distant and close, to come and gather now. So they all came. He said, Hamida said, we all gathered around him. In his final moments, we all gathered. We said, this is an important declaration. This must be so sensitive that the Imam was unconscious. Then he woke up. Then he said, before I leave, I want to make this declaration. He didn't say that, but he said to people, gather. Yes? So he said, we all paid attention attentively. He looked at us and said, this is in Wasa'il al-Shi'a, this riwayah. He said, إن شفاعتنا لن تنال مستخفا الصلاة. We will not intercede for anyone who takes their prayers lightly. She said, then he left this world after a short period. Hamida is the carrier of this important message. This message of what? This message of salah. Now, very importantly, Imam alayhi salam is saying there will be and there were people, and even today there are people, who believe that just by following a group of individuals who are the best, like the Ahlul Bayt, without paying attention to their prayers, they are already in Jannah. They don't need to pray. They don't need to make sure their duties and responsibilities are performed well. Imam alayhi salam says, you are, as the children say, cloud cuckoo land. You are somewhere, yes, you are really not with it. Because if you think we will do shafa'ah for you and you take your prayers lightly, then you're deceiving yourself. Meaning what? Now there are a number of demonstrations of what does it mean to take prayers lightly. Number one, to delay it unnecessarily. Meaning, it's time for salah, I am playing games, I am watching something, for example, and I am able to go and pray, but I don't pray. And this happens time after time. The riwayah tells us on the day of Qiyamah, anyone who delays the salah unnecessarily, Allah delays the accountability for millions of years. They just wait for millions of years. Then they say, Ya Allah, why am I waiting? Then the response will be, you delayed your salah, now we delay your accountability. Number two, not knowing the rules and the jurisprudence of salah and wudu. Not knowing means what? Taking it lightly. Not paying attention. Not researching. Not asking. Praying continuously wrong. Yes. This is unfortunate that happens in this day and age where information is widely available. Ulama are much more accessible. Never in the history of mankind have ulama been so accessible like now. Yet, there are people who are lazy, who are not really checking their salah. I often say when you go for ziyarah, hajj or umrah, make sure that what? You speak to a scholar or somebody in the trip. If you go with a group or you get to know somebody who is knowledgeable, check my salah, please. Normal. Nothing wrong with it, yes? That's number two. Number three, not praying altogether. Especially there are people who take their fajr salah lightly, the most oppressed salah. One day we'll write a book about it, call it the oppressed salah. It is oppressed, and it says that people take it lightly. Oh, it's only fajr, 2 rakats, I'll pray it, whenever I can. And unfortunately, this is categorized as taking salah lightly. Yes? This shafa'ah of Ali Muhammad, we need it. This intercession of the Ahl al-Bayt, we are in a requirement of it. You ask me today, Imam Musa ibn Ja'far, as we are celebrating his auspicious Wiladat, is known as Babul Hawa'ij, isn't it? We believe that he has been given, like many others, starting with the Holy Prophet of Islam and the Imams, Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam, as well as Sayyidatun Nisa Fatima, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them karamat, meaning that He has blessed them, that when we, for example, present our needs, they are the ones who present it to Allah to be fulfilled. Therefore known as Babul Hawa'ij, the one who fulfills the wishes by giving it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is Qadhiul Hajat. It's Allah only fulfills Hajat. But they are the intermediaries. Yes? Now, sometimes people say, I have stood in front of this magnificent 2 golden domes in Kazimain, or next to the shrine of Imam al-Kazim alayhi salam, and I have asked my Hajat, it's not happening. Wait a minute. Maybe there is something wrong here, because if they're not wrong with the concept, wrong with us. Meaning what? If Imam al-Sadiq is saying you want our shafa'ah, you have to take your salah seriously, maybe we have to look at ourselves. Maybe our relationship with Allah needs to improve. for these hajat to be given, isn't it? That's why you recognize that Imam alayhi salam, when an individual is truly serving Allah, the Prophet, and the Ahl al-Bayt, would not disappoint. I leave you with this important story, that the person who actually endured it or went through it is alive today. And she was asked, and she came on TV and indeed gave the testimony that this is what happened to her. A believer who is the daughter of a great scholar by the name of Sheikh Ahmad al-Wa'ili. Sheikh Ahmad al-Ma'ili has given hundreds, if not thousands of majalis in service of the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim as-salam. He says, when I was in Kazim one day, I heard that my daughter who was young, sweeping the floor, there was a piece of glass that penetrated and went through her eyes. We took her to hospital. They said that she will be blind in one eye. Because what? Because the cornea retina has been injured, and therefore she will never be able to see. But what we'll do tomorrow is try to take it out. But it's impossible for her to see. He said, that night I left the hospital. I drove past the shrine of Imam Musa ibn Ja'far and Imam Muhammad al-Jawad, peace be upon them. He said, I stood in front of the shrine. He said, I didn't go in. I was too heartbroken. He said, I looked, I said, oh Musa ibn Ja'far, you are Babul Hawaj. And I've spent all my life telling people you are Babul Hawaj. Tonight, I want to see that. Tonight, I want to see it. I'm desperate. My daughter is going to lose her eyes and she won't be able to see. I leave this with you. He said, I left this haja with him. Khalas. Ask Allah on my behalf. He left. In the morning, he went to the hospital. His daughter was taken to the operation room. He was waiting outside. He says, yes, this is not anybody. This is a great scholar whose funeral was the most attended in Iraq's history. Several million attended. I attended it in 2003. Several million people attended his funeral when he left this world, shortly after the fall of the regime. And he went and did ziyarah, and then he died in Iraq. Now, he's buried next to the shrine of Kumail ibn Ziyad. He said, the doctors came out, really bewildered. I said to them, what's wrong? They said, we put your daughter on the operation table. We removed the eye patch in order to make the operation, start the operation. We looked at her eyes and it's perfectly normal. There is nothing there. There's no glass. She can see absolutely normal. This is all in the barakah of Babul Hawa'ij, Musa ibn Ja'far, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. And his daughter came out on TV and said, yes, I testify that actually happened, and look at my eyes, everything is fine. Therefore, we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this glorious occasion in the remembrance of the 7th Holy Imam to make us of the individuals that follow in the footsteps of these great people, Hamida and the mothers of the Ahl al-Bayt. Make sure that we look after our prayers and indeed honor the legacy of Ali Muhammad. Wa akhir da'wana an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa salli Allahumma ala Muhammad wa alihi at-tahirin.
रबी खुदा ख़त्म अंबिया मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम। तमाम मोमिनीन मोमिनात को खुशहाली मुबारक हो और खुदा इस नेक दिन के सदक़े जो भी आपके हाजात हैं मौला मस्तान पाक के सदक़े कबूल व मकबूल हो। आपको कोई गम न मिले माए सवाए गम हुसैन की। एक जागती आवाज़ में सलवात कर लीजिए। कलाम पढ़ना था मगर आज हमारे महमूद भाई ने पढ़ना है कलाम मेरे साथ मिलकर पढ़ेंगे तो कलाम वो पढ़ रहा हूँ जो इनका पसंदीदा है। इनकी सेहत और सलामती के लिए और जितने मुंतज़मीन हैं जो काम करते हैं सबकी सेहत और सलामती के लिए एक जागती आवाज़ में सलावत पढ़ लीजिए।
कभी तारों ने चमक कर, कभी तारों ने चमक कर, कभी फूलों ने महक कर, तो कभी सूरज ने निकल कर, कभी महताब ने ढल कर, इन्हीं को मालिक माना अबू तालिब का घराना, बड़ा महबूब घराना। पढ़े ना जरा मिलकर ना, बड़ा महबूब घराना, बड़ा
ذرا مل کے ذرا. بڑا محبوب گھرانہ یہ سلمان اور ابو ذر اسی در کے ہیں نوکر. یہ سلمان اور ابو ذر اسی در کے ہیں نوکر. اسی در پہ ہے قمبر اسی در پہ ہے قلندر. نعرہ حیدری. یہی ہے سب کا ٹھکانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ. بڑا محبوب گھرانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ. بڑا محبوب گھرانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ. بڑا محبوب گھرانہ. تو عقیدہ کیا ہے اس در پہ ہم آتے کیوں ہیں؟ بناتے ہیں یہ مقدر بناتے ہیں یہ مقدر یہی ہے مالک کوثر. ارے جو آیا ان کے در پر گیا وہ جھولی بھر کر. کیوں؟ یہ ہے سخیوں کا گھرانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ. مل کے ایسے نہیں. نعرہ حیدری. بڑا محبوب گھرانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ. عقیدے کا شعر راجہ صاحب دیکھیے کہ ہمیں رزق روزی ان کے صدقے میں ملتی ہے. دیکھیے ذرا. کہیں پر بیچ سمندر کہیں پتھر کے اندر کہیں بادل برسا کر کہیں کھیتی کو گھا کر ہے دیتا بودانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ. بڑا محبوب گھرانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ. بڑا محبوب. مل کر پڑھیے صرف 2-3 منٹ مل کے پڑھی ذرا. بڑا محبوب گھرانہ ہم سب کا عقیدہ ہے. یہی واحد کے عہد ہیں یہی واحد کے عہد ہیں یہی اللہ کی سند ہے. اگر اللہ سمد ہے یہی تو روح سمد ہے. تو خدا کی طرح یگانہ ابو طالب. نعرہ حیدری. محبوب گھرانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ. بڑا محبوب گھرانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ. بڑا محبوب گھرانہ کا گھرانہ. میرا قرآن یہی ہے میری تو شان یہی ہے. میرا قرآن یہی ہے میری تو شان یہی ہے. جو اب ایمان کی پوچھو میرا ایمان یہی ہے. جو اب ایمان کی پوچھو میرا ایمان یہی ہے. ارے میرا گھر جس کا دیوانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ. بڑا محبوب گھرانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ. بڑا محبوب گھرانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ.
بڑا محبوب گھرانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ.
بڑا محبوب گھرانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ.
میرا قرآن یہی ہے میری تو شان یہی ہے. میرا قرآن یہی ہے میری تو شان یہی ہے. جو ایمان کی پوچھو میرا ایمان یہی ہے. جو اب ایمان کی پوچھو میرا ایمان یہی ہے.
میرا گھر جس کا
ٹھکانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ.
بڑا محبوب گھرانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ. بڑا بس 2 شعر. ابو طالب تو فضیلت ان کے لیے ہے ولایت ان کے لیے ہے. نعرہ حیدری. فضیلت ان کے لیے ہے رسالت ان کے لیے ہے، امامت ان کے لیے ہے، تو ہر ایک عظمت کا ٹھکانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ، نعرہ حیدری، محبوب گھرانہ ابو طالب، آخری شعر دیکھیے، بڑا محبوب گھرانہ ابو طالب، جو یہ بولے تو قرآن ہے، جو یہ بولے تو قرآن ہے، جو یہ چپ ہو تو یزدان، نعرہ حیدری، جو یہ بولے تو قرآن ہے، جو یہ چپ ہو تو یزدان، ہے باطن ان کا عصمت، ہے ظاہر ان کا عمران، اور غلام ان کا ہے زمانہ ابو طالب کا گھرانہ، بڑا محبوب گھرانہ، مل کے دونوں ہاتھ اٹھا کے یا علی، اب ایک ایسا نعرہ ہونا چاہیے جشن والا نعرہ، مل کے نعرہ حیدری، حیدری، برحبیب خدا ختم انبیاء محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم۔ میرے بھائی حسن کے والد کا انتقال ہوا ہے، اور جتنے بھی مومنین ہیں، جن کی بھی مرحومین ہیں، ہمیشہ ذکر کرتا ہے پنجتن پاک کا، پروردگار ان کو جوار معصومین میں بلند مقام عطا کرے انشاءاللہ، اس کو صبر دے انشاءاللہ، سب مرحومین کے لیے اور ان کے والد صاحب کے لیے، میرے والد صاحب کے لیے، محمود کی مرحومین کے لیے، علی بھائی کی مرحومین کے لیے، راجہ کل مرحومین کے لیے سورہ مبارکۃ الفاتحہ۔
توجہ زیارت۔
السلام علیکم یا رسول اللہ، السلام علیکم یا نبی اللہ، السلام علیکم یا خاتم النبیین، السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ، السلام علیکم یا ابا عبداللہ، السلام علیکم یا ابن رسول اللہ، السلام علیکم وعلی جدک و ابیک، السلام علیکم وعلی امک و اخیک، السلام علیکم یا ابو الفضل العباس یا ابن امیر المؤمنین، السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ، السلام علیکم یا غریب الغرباء، السلام علیکم یا معین الضعفاء والفقراء، السلام علیکم یا شمس الشموس، السلام علیکم یا انیس النفوس، ایہا المدفون بعرض توس، السلطان العرب والعجم یا علی ابن موسیٰ الرضا، الراضی بالقدر والقضاء ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ، السلام علیکم یا مولانا یا صاحب العصر والزمان، الامان 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 من فتنة الزمان، السلام علیکم یا شریک القرآن، السلام علیکم یا قامی الکفر والطغیان، السلام علیکم یا دافع الظلم والعدوان، عجل اللہ تعالی فرجک وسهل اللہ مخرجک وظہورک ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ۔
صلی
الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا وذاك تسكنه وارزك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا ارحم الراحمين۔ نعرہ حیدری۔
تمام مومنین یہاں پہ تشریف رکھے، یہاں پہ بیٹھ کے نیاز کا اہتمام کیا گیا، پلیز سب یہاں پر آ جائیں اور سب بیٹھ جائیں یہاں کارپیٹ۔